Well, hello there.
Dr. Jen, how's it going? What's going on at the Cayley Institute?
Well, today I was actually scavenging for you because I know you love typography and I wanted to show you one of the more unique typographical specimens in the Cayley collection.
Oh, yes, please show me.
Oh, hey. Yeah, so this is the first edition of Evolutionary Astrology by Ray Merriman, and it was completely hand drawn, as
Wow,
in the words are all calligraphy. Here,
amazing.
take a look. It's like every page
That's amazing. That's a real
has
commitment.
hand drawn
Hmm.
all of it, the whole thing. And then you have these really cool, like, and
Mm-hmm.
almost like the way in German medieval manuscripts there would be. But then you have like the size change here.
Oh,
So it
look
gets
at that.
bigger,
Huh.
right? It is during these periods that one must confront and account for actions initiated in another lifetime, right?
Ooh, astrocartography,
So,
maybe?
yeah, you have time of greatest world power and influence. Eclipse paths, grids, nodes, you name it. So, yeah, I just thought you'd enjoy seeing that. Oh, and then there's some images too. This is a Journey of the Transmigrating Soul by Jenna Hoffman or Holman.
Wow, I've never heard of this title. Is this a rare one?
Yeah, this is uncommon. It was reprinted, but it doesn't have the sort of art in the same way and the
Yeah,
typography in the same way with
it's
this.
actually nicely
So,
done. I know I have a bunch of 70s books, and there were a lot of calligraphers still around. I think that's been a kind of a dying art. And I have several books that are all handwritten like this, which I don't think many people would spend the time on today.
mhm.
Oh,
So
first edition.
yeah. So yeah.
Oh, that is going to be hard to top, Jen. That is really, really nice. But let me see if I can respond here. What's going on here, Jen? What do you think is?
Mm. Sunspots, huh? Whoa. That sun is exploding. That is violent. Wow.
Give me one second.
But the government scientists explain why all this is not likely to happen.
Yeah, Jen, look, the planets are literally sort of exploding out of the sun in some bizarre way, and I don't totally get it. And I do you want to see the chart of this day? I can show you what they're worried about here. Um,
So is the sun like, yeah, they are exploding out of the sun or something's exploding from the sun hitting them, but why are they all placed like that? Is it
so
a stellium? Is this like a
it's kind of a wide stellium. It's saying that there's six planets on one side of the sun, which I don't
mm,
think has much astronomical or astrological relevance. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you heard about that as an issue?
well, there is something called the barycenter, which is the collective gravitational pull of certain
Um,
bodies. So it's not just it's within systems. So that it actually in 1989, Neil F. Michelson, the guy that wrote all the ephemerides for our community,
mhm.
writes in the last book that was ever published by him posthumously that the sun can go retrograde, and in fact did so in 1989 because the barycenter of all those planets that were stelliumed in can you say that
Oh.
stelliumed that were forming a stellium in Capricorn were really pulling the center of gravity of the sun outside of the sun, and so it was orbiting in a slight loop backwards for a couple of years.
Really? That's
Yeah, and this
fascinating.
happens about once every 163 years.
Oh, wow.
But it's so there's this really cool part of it where Maybe I'll show that to you next time we meet. It was like, can the sun go retrograde? Yes, it can. And everybody's like, the sun can't go retrograde. And he's like, au contraire, look at the astronomy of the solar system. When the barycenter gets pulled outside of the sun, the center of the sun, and even outside of the sun itself, then yes, it will actually have an effect on the orbit of the sun.
That's amazing. It's sort of like the kids are pulling the mom in one direction.
Totally. Yeah, 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 exactly. And then even when you open up like Charles Jane, he says the moon doesn't orbit the earth. And you're going, what is this? I thought I knew my life. Like, what? I see it every night. Like, the moon is orbiting the earth, obviously, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't, though. It orbits the moon earth barycenter.
Oh, wow.
So it's and that's underneath the surface of the earth. It's not in the center of the earth. It's just about 1,000 miles below the crust of the earth. So as the moon is moving around the earth, it's causing the crust of the earth to bulge out because it's actually orbiting the center of gravity between the moon earth relationship.
I just was listening to a talk by somebody at Kepler who was talking about these cool astronomical details with Saturn. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but like the idea that Saturn there's something about the tilting
Mhm.
of the rings over
Mhm.
time that's supposed
Mhm.
to be, you know, it sort of explains, it's supposed to have a certain effect. I know that I found an old diagram from like the 20s that would show when Saturn is in a particular zodiac sign, it's actually at a certain angle. The rings are at an angle, and I
Oh,
can't remember which the
nice.
signs are, but like if you were a mega nerd and you were looking at your telescope, you could be like, oh, that's probably in Capricorn right now because
Yeah, yeah.
such and
I love
such.
that. I love that. Wow.
But
Yeah,
it's
when you get into these like finer tuned like astronomical measurement moments in the history of astrology, you get really cool stuff happening. Like the mid-century astrologers were onto some cool stuff.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks for showing me that sun explosion thing.
That was 1919, and it doesn't. I took Pluto off because Pluto wasn't known then, but we made it through that. So hopefully,
That was a good year. I like 1919. It
1919. Yeah,
was the
well,
beginning of the democratic experiment in Germany that failed spectacularly, but they had a good run.
that's right. That's when you got you're getting into Dada. You're getting into a whole resurgence of
Oh yeah.
suprematists and Russia, and then
Bauhaus,
about, of course, the Bauhaus, but
right?
before Peter Murphy, the original Bauhaus. But then it, as you said, it kind of collapsed in spectacularly later on. But their influence is still being felt. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna go get that Neil book for next time, and thanks for the call.
all right. Thanks, Jen. See ya.